Great. We're going to get started. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We have several members of the press who have just joined us and for this press conference calling on Governor Newsom to appoint a Black woman to Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's Senate seat. My name is Surina Khan. I'm the CEO of the Women's Foundation California. I am one of more than 200 people, including community leaders, philanthropists, activists, and California residents who signed their names to one of many efforts calling on our governor to do the right thing.
Could I call you back in a little bit?
And if you could mute yourself if you're not speaking, that would be great. So we're here to call on the governor, as I said, to do the right thing. Women of color are essential to our electoral progress, to our communities, and our futures. We believe, all of us here, that appointing a woman of color to the U.S. Senate, specifically a Black woman, is not only the best choice, but what's necessary for the future of California and the country. As VP-elect, Kamala Harris said it best in her own victory speech. She said, Black women are too often overlooked, but so often prove that they are the backbone of our democracy. Again, we're here today because we are asking Governor Newsom to do the right thing and place the voices of Black women at the highest levels of power. I'm joined by powerful women leaders representing a diverse coalition who we will hear from and will make their remarks, and then we can take questions from the press. And in the meantime, we also invite you to put any questions in the chat function. So first, I would like to invite civil rights icon Dolores Huerta to make brief remarks.
Thank you very much, Surina. We want to call upon our good governor, Gavin Newsom, to appoint a Black woman to the U.S. Senate seat. This will actually be historic, because we know at this point in time we do not have a Black senator in the U.S. Senate at this time. But by doing this, you will actually honor the progressive work that Black women have been doing, especially in this historic moment that we are living in, with all of the work that they have done with the Me Too movement for women, for the Black Lives Matter movement. And they actually have inspired thousands and thousands of people all over the world to take to the streets, to do the marches, demanding gender and racial justice. Not to appoint a Black woman would be ignoring the cries for justice that all of these people who have been marching are demanding at this time. Now, we know we have many really incredible, qualified Black women that could fill this position. So we can't use that excuse that they always use when it comes to women or people of color. Well, they're just not qualified. We know, and not only that, but I think these women have earned through all of the legislative victories that they have had, that they are fully capable of filling this appointment in the U.S. Senate. Women's voices are desperately needed, but Black women's voices are especially needed at this time in history. By doing this, Governor Newsom, you will be taking a step to correct the terrible history of discrimination that Black women have suffered through the ages. And you will actually cement your own legacy as part of the civil rights movement by doing this, of the civil rights and gender rights movement by doing this. So it will be a giant step towards political equality and representation. We know that Black women have made history just recently with all of the work they did so that we could get a president-elect Joe Biden. So we want you to join in this path for gender justice, for racial justice with the rest of us by using your authority that you have to honor all of the Black women that have fought so hard for so many years. We're depending on you, Governor. Yes, you can. Sí se puede.
Thank you so much, Dolores. And now I'd like to invite Alicia Garza, co-founder of the Movement for Black Lives and author of the recent book, The Purpose of Power.
Hi, everybody. And Dolores, you are always excellent. Thank you so much for kicking off this important press conference with all the words that we need to hear. And yes, you are absolutely right. Sí se puede. So my name is Alicia Garza. I'm the principal at the Black to the Future Action Fund, and fully in support of making sure that the seat that is being vacated by Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, is replaced and filled by a Black woman. What we know is that currently in our United States Senate, only 26 out of 100 members are women. We also know that of those 26 members, only 4 of those are women of color, and only 1 of those women of color is a Black woman. Women know exactly what it feels like to be passed over and looked over, even though they're qualified for positions of power. And for too long in this country, we have had our lives governed by people who don't live our lives. And that is the problem that we have to address. California can be a leader, and it has been a leader, in really demonstrating for the rest of this country what it means, not just to symbolically put people of color or women in positions of power, but what it means to make sure that the substance of what it is that women, what it is that women of color, what it is that Black women bring to the table are a part of the rules that are governing our state and governing our country. Our First Lady in California has said that gender equity is California's promise. And in fact, Governor Newsom, you too have fought for years to make sure that there is gender equity, that there is equality for LGBT people in our communities, that there is equality and justice for immigrant communities and for Black communities in this state. And so it's imperative that we continue that legacy as we look to fill the seat that is being vacated by the first Black woman and the first Indian American woman to ever hold the seat of vice president in this nation. It's been too long that we are saying over and over again that there is one, and we should really just say that there's only one Black woman who sits currently in the United States Senate, but we can break that trend by making sure that we fill this seat with another qualified Black woman. As Dolores said, there are many qualified Black women who can fill this seat. It could be Congresswoman Barbara Lee from my hometown. It could be Congresswoman Karen Bass. There are so many Black women who are currently serving in Congress that could take this seat and could do an incredible job to ensure that the values of our state are represented in the United States Senate. It's imperative that we do not just look from a list of men to choose from to continue the legacy that this country has always done, which is having men make decisions for everybody in this nation, regardless of the fact that women are over half of the population. It's time for us to do the right thing. Governor Newsom, please appoint a Black woman for Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's seat.
Thank you so much, Alicia. And now I'd like to invite Susan Pritzker, philanthropist and board member of the Lieber Foundation, to say a few words.
Hi, folks. Well, Alicia and Dolores, you've said most of the important statistical and informational things that are at play in this important decision that our governor has ahead of him. I can't stress strongly enough how I feel as a philanthropist, as a white woman, that this decision impacts us all, both as women, but primarily as members of the left community that has seen so much power in the Black political movement in these last few years. As Alicia so eloquently said, there are a long list of very qualified, ready to go Black women here in California who would both honor this legacy and provide us with the representation that we all deserve and need so desperately right now. Please do the right thing. I know you will. We're counting on you, Governor Newsom. Thanks.
Thank you, Susan. And now we will hear from Aimee Allison, founder of She the People. And Aimee, you're on mute.
Thank you so much. And so many powerful, beautiful words have already been spoken. The People, is a national network of women of color, but I live in Oakland, California, and I'm going to talk as a Californian, as a Black woman in California. The fact that today represents a force of multiracial force of women calling Governor Newsom to appoint a Black woman should speak volumes. Women of color are severely underrepresented in positions of power, despite holding the world on our shoulder, despite being 1 out of every 4 voters in California and over a quarter of the population. We need to be represented in this state, and that's particularly true for Black women. For a governor who claims to care about closing the gender gap, failing to appoint a Black woman to the US Senate would be a step backwards, leaving women of color and Black women without a voice, both for California and nationally. And we need that decision-making power. We need to be legislative leaders and to continue showing our national political leadership in this next very critical phase. And once Senator Harris is sworn into her new role, the upper chamber is going to be without an advocate who can uniquely speak to the needs and the issues that are important to women of color throughout the country. So how long, we must ask the Governor Newsom, will we have to wait to increase the diversity of women of color in the Senate? Women of color, Black women in the state of California, we have an embarrassment of riches. We have women who are ready to go. The most senior woman of color in the House, Barbara Lee, the well-respected, well-known coalition builder, Karen Bass, both ready to lead in the Senate on day one. So for the future of California, our country, women of color in the communities closest to us, this should be a moment that Gavin Newsom meets the moment and does the right thing so that we can keep marching forward in establishing a reflective democracy and not backslide. Senator Harris cannot be the only woman of color at the table for our state. It's not enough that she broke the glass ceiling. There needs to be a path to make sure that we can legislate gender, racial, and economic justice for future generations. This is such a key moment. This is a moment for the governor to rise to the challenge. And I join the call of the women in this event and nationally to appoint a Black woman to represent California in the US Senate.
Thank you so much, Aimee Allison. And we're now so happy to be joined by political activist, actor, and producer Alfred Woodard. And I'd love to invite you to say a few words.
Hi, thank you. Thanks, everybody. And well said. I am excited to be on this call. I feel inspired by all of you, and I work with a lot of you. I am Alfred, like you said, I'm a California mom and a California businesswoman. I do work in the film and television industry. I am just heartened to be with this group this morning, this group who man or woman the front lines every day to protect and promote the lives of women and girls in California and around the country. Because I joined Governor Newsom in endorsing Proposition 16 in the November election, that was the one that recognized how women, in particular Black, Brown, Indigenous, and Asian American women, are systematically denied access to opportunity in this state, in business, in education, and in employment. I trust, therefore, that his heart and his mind is primed to fill Vice President-elect Harris's Senate seat with a person who most closely fits in those shoes, those pumps of Senator Harris, whom Californians elected to represent their points of view, our forward-thinking California points of view, and our interests in DC. That person would be a woman of color, and in particular, a Black woman who is not a bureaucrat, as nice as those guys are, who is not a bureaucrat, but an advocate and an activator. Fortunately, and I'm going to ring that bell again, ladies, Barbara Lee, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Congresswoman Karen Bass. In them, we have a duo who fills those shoes perfectly without breaking stride. Both have been on the ground from the beginning for decades in their neighborhoods and then communities and then the counties and leaders in this state. They have stood and they have delivered. They are known, respected, and trusted by their constituents and people across the state. They are known, respected, and trusted as leaders by their colleagues in DC. This is, all we have to do is just wake up and keep stepping. I don't even know why we're thinking about that, but I know it is, Governor Newsom, it is your choice, but I trust that you will stand by your endorsement and your recognition of how we keep this progress moving forward. Let's not forget, these congresswomen who have been at the forefront of leadership in DC, they both headed up the Congressional Black Caucus, among other committees there in the Congress. They were super shortlisted for the vice presidency of the United States. I don't think we need to say more about qualifications. So we look to you, Governor Newsom, and we put our trust in your standing by all Californians.
Thank you so much, Alfred, and to all of our speakers. You have so eloquently put forward why we need to put a Black woman in Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's Senate seat. Thank you. Before we move into Q&A, we'll invite the press, members of the press, to put your questions in the chat, and then we will move to Q&A. But before we do that, we have other speakers who are here that we would like for them to have an opportunity to introduce themselves. And so let's go to Kathy Spillar first.
Thank you, Surina. As Surina said, I'm Kathy Spiller. I'm the Executive Director of the Feminist Majority Foundation, and I am thrilled and honored to be part of this amazing group of women's leaders today to join in insisting, really, demanding that Governor Newsom appoint a Black woman to fill Senator Kamala Harris's seat in the Senate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Next, we'll go to Noreen Farrell.
Hi, everyone. My name is Noreen Farrell, and I'm the Executive Director of Equal Rights Advocates, and I'm here to add my impassioned support in calling on Governor Newsom to appoint a Black woman to VP-elect Harris's seat. Thanks for making this happen for California and the nation.
Thank you so much, Noreen. Next, we'll go to Betsy Butler.
Hi, I'm Betsy Butler. I'm the Executive Director of the California Women's Law Center and a former member of the California Assembly. And I'm here too, in solidarity to ask Governor Newsom to please appoint a Black woman to VP-elect Senator Harris's seat. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Betsy. We'll go to Heather McCullough next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather McCullough, the Executive Director of Closing the Women's Wealth Gap, a national coalition of women who are all here in solidarity. We really are, feeling so strongly about this. We need Governor Newsom, our governor, my governor, to appoint a Black woman to fill Vice President-elect Harris's seat. So thank you so much, Surina, for convening us all.
Thank you so much. And next we'll go to Patty Giggins.
Greetings, everybody. I'm Patty Giggins. I'm the Executive Director at Peace Over Violence. We've been serving survivors of sexual and domestic violence for 50 years. And I'm so pleased to be here, to be part of this group, to urge Governor Newsom to fill the seat of Vice President-elect Harris with a Black woman. You can meet this moment, Governor. We trust that you will.
Thank you so much, Patty. And next, I'd like to invite Kate Nelson and Vaughn Meyer.
Hello, I'm Kate Nelson.
And I'm Vaughn Meyer.
And we are the co-chairs of the Women's Political Committee. That's the oldest women's PAC in the country, serving to elect women across the country and specifically also in California, our home state. We too stand united with this group of women in calling on Governor Newsom to appoint a Black woman to VP elect Harris's Senate seat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kate and Vaughn. And our final speaker is Ina Valadares, and I invite you to join us.
Buenos dias, everyone. Good morning. My name is Ina Suset Valladares, and I'm with California Latinas for Reproductive Justice. We are the only RJ org in the state of California led for and by Latinas. And I also stand in solidarity, urging the governor, demanding the governor to appoint a Black woman to fill the seat of Vice President-elect Harris. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for being with us today. We'd like to invite members of the press to add their questions to the chat and or to raise your hand, and I think our tech support will let you speak. We have one question from Roxy Saul at Ms. Magazine. What can listeners, the larger feminist community, do to keep up the pressure? And I will just start by saying there are multiple efforts calling on the governor to appoint a Black woman to Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's Senate seat. We compliment those efforts. We applaud those other efforts. The pressure is on. And I think that we can continue to keep up the pressure. And I'd invite perhaps Aimee Allison, you wanted to share what you think we can do to keep up the pressure.
Thank you, Surina. I think this effort led by the Women's Foundation, all these amazing organizations are going to be critical. The most important thing that we're asking women who believe in gender and racial justice across the country and in California is to elevate the efforts of the groups, sign on to this letter. There's another group of California Black women that I'm part of that is also working with and sending direct messages to the appointment secretary and Gavin Newsom directly. And we have so far had thousands of California women, both Black and those who are working in solidarity, pushing for that. So I'm gonna put a link there where people can communicate directly with the governor's office. The most important thing right now is for us, because it's urgent, because we're hearing that the decision is coming before the holiday break, that we voice both on social media and directly communicating with the governor's office and the appointment secretary that we demand a Black woman appointed to fill the VP-elect's seat, that a Black woman becomes the next senator of California, and that the governor does not allow there to be a situation where there are no Black women in the US Senate, not in 2020, not ever. So I think those are the things that we're pushing for really hard right now.
Thank you so much, Aimee. I see another question from Saul Gonzalez at KQED. What do you say to groups who want to see the seat filled by a Latino or Latina? I can think of no one better to respond to this question than Dolores Huerta.
Well, as a Latina, I do believe that at this unique moment in history that we need to have a Black woman to represent us all. And the Black women that we're talking about, they can represent the Latinas also. And I do know that there are a lot of Latinas that feel exactly like I do. We have had oftentimes Latinas that have run for office, but they have not really gotten the support that they need from Latino men. And so we want to correct that. And so, yes, very definitely we need a Black woman now to be in the US Senate, but we know that we will consistently advocate for all women of color, not only Latinas, but Asians, etc. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If there are any other questions, now would be the moment to raise them either in the chat or you can, I think, raise your hand and our tech support will let you in.
You can unmute yourself if you need to.
Or you can unmute yourself and ask your question or put it in the chat. And if there are no more questions, then I want to say a very big thank you to all of our speakers for being here today. To the members of the press who are with us today, thank you for being here. We hope that through your reporting, you will draw more attention to this issue. And if you would like to interview any of the speakers in more depth, please contact our Chief Strategist of Communications at Women's Foundation California, Kamika Dunlap. Her contact information is on the press advisory. And again, I thank you all so much for being here to raise the voice and put pressure on the governor to do the right thing and appoint a Black woman to Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's Senate seat. Thank you all so much.